Hello and welcome back to my channel Inside.The.Markets. Today we're gonna look at KASPA on the lower time frame. And as always, guys, before we start, my content is not a financial advice. Please do your own research. So let's take a look at KASPA. In my opinion, we are here at least in an ABC structure, which I added to the charts with the minimum target of 0.07. This is the minimum scenario I'm expecting for KASPA. So crucial for this is to hold this level here. If not, we're gonna see a lower low and maybe we could see a sweep below this low of the mega sell-off in the past in October, right? So, but currently we are still in an uptrend on the lower time frame. Of course, from macro perspective, we are in a downtrend because we are in lower highs structure. So, what should happen next? In my opinion, we are in ABC, and the final C wave should be structured by 5 waves to the upside. Let's say this was the low. This was the first wave. Second wave, I believe the next wave gonna retest this huge resistance, quick correction, and then the final fifth wave. Let me add the waves to this, okay? And it's very likely this first impulse here was the first wave, and we are now working on the second wave, okay, before the next move up. But of course, this all will depend on Bitcoin. If BTC gonna see a bigger correction, let's say below 80K, I believe we will see this scenario potentially a sweep below this week low before we gonna recover, right? So how would I play this? Let me remove this quickly from the charts, okay? And let's zoom in on the H1 charts. Okay, let's say this was the first impulse as I showed you. Let's go to the lows. This was the low up to the high, and let's change the color quickly. Let's take the white color, okay, for better understanding. I will remove this one, okay. As you see, the price already touched the 0.618 level here and bounced off again, okay, which is a good sign because usually the 0.618, the golden FIB ratio, is a perfect bounce for a second wave, okay? But for sure, you should be prepared to see these levels, okay? Let's say, for example, the price will move sideways here, gonna touch this crucial resistance level and came back down. This is where I would place my longs, okay? These are the levels, okay? I've already longed this area, okay, with a stop loss below this low, okay, but if you will see a breakdown, okay, this is the next area I would take a long for sure. Okay, my stop loss would be slightly below this level because this was the bounce where I'm expecting the first impulse of the C wave started. Okay, so let's switch back to the H4 charts and I'm gonna show you a bullish scenario. What if this impulse wasn't an A wave and this a B wave? What if this already was the first wave and this the second wave? Okay, this I mentioned in my previous video on KASPA. Okay, then we already are working on the third wave. So the third wave should be also structured by 5 waves. And this was the first wave of the third wave. Now we are working on the second wave, and then we should see a much higher bounce, not a bounce, an impulse, because the third wave is usually the most explosive one in a market structure. Therefore, we need to follow the structure on lower time frames. How are they forming? Are they going in a diagonal direction, or are they moving more impulsive, right? More impulsive. This impulsive structure would potentially show us that we are already in a upwards trend. Okay, this you should understand. Okay, so there are two scenarios, let's say three. Yes, I know this sounds not perfect for you maybe, because we still can expect a lower low, right? Okay, we can expect an A, B, C, or we can expect an ultra bullish structure, which I mentioned 1 minute ago, that we already started the next impulse to the upside. Okay, guys? So, however, let me finish this quickly with the 30 minutes chart. Okay, follow up this reaction here. Okay, this is a crucial level. If you can break this, supported by bigger volume. Okay, as you see, we have no volume in the markets currently. Okay, there is no volume, of course, because of the holidays. But if you will see this breakout here, supported by huge volume, this would be a nice sign that we already are in an upwards trend. And also, let's take a look here quickly. Let's zoom in to the current chart. Maybe we already have here the first 5 waves impulse. Now we are working maybe on the final correction, and then we should see higher prices. That's why I longed the previous low, and I prepared you to be prepared for lower lows where you could also take a long. Okay, so this was the update for KASPA. If you like this content, please leave me a like, tell your friends, let's grow the channel, and also leave me a comment if you are an investor in KASPA or not, and what do you think? Are we already in the next impulse, or will the correction continue? Okay, see you in my next update. Wish you all a happy new year, and let's start successful the new year all together. Bye bye.